A very good afternoon to you and a warm welcome to UBC Lunchtime News on this 7th day of January 2025. I'm Lorene Masika Kazimoto. This afternoon we start off with the Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, is in Ghana to attend the swearing-in of President John Dramani Mahama, where she is representing President Yoweri Museveni. The event, held at Accra's Black Star Square, brought together world leaders including heads of state from 50 powers like the USA, UK, China, Japan and Israel. A key moment of the ceremony was the swearing-in of Ghana's first female Vice President, Nana Jen, marking a significant milestone in gender equality. President Mahama expressed deep gratitude to the Ghanaian people, reflecting on the country's democratic progress. He also acknowledged the vital role of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, especially his early concession that ensured a peaceful power transition. Mahama highlighted the change in global economy with rising BRICS nations and the declining influence of G7 countries. He also raised concern about security risks posed by artificial intelligence and emphasized the need for stronger public health systems to address the climate change and pandemics. The president outlined his administration's priorities: economic recovery, governance reforms, and job creation, urging the business community to collaborate in building a prosperous, innovative Ghana. Now, John Dramani Mahama was sworn in for his second term as Ghana's president on Tuesday, with a fresh mandate to tackle familiar challenges, including corruption, high unemployment, inflation, and public discontent. He replaces Nana Akufo-Addo, who stepped down after serving 2 terms, continuing Ghana's democratic tradition in a region gripped elsewhere by military coups and Islamic militant insurgents.
For many Ghanaians, especially young girls and women, for the first time we have a female who was sworn in as the first vice president. And for Mahama to acknowledge that by his side, he's going to have the first female vice president, is going to shape a lot of things. And it was so refreshing to see that. And for many Ghanaians, we also was happy that President Mahama acknowledged the high expectations of Ghanaians, and he mentioned that these expectations are valid, considering how much support and vote he got in the December 17th election. And so the commitment from him to start running an efficient government and to fight corruption was quite refreshing for more Ghanaians. And to look at tackling the economy, it looks like that is what a lot of young people want: employment, and to make sure that they have jobs in the country.
Vera, give us a little more information about the vice president. Who is she? What's her name? And what is known about her?
So she is Professor Nana Adjumapoko. She was in the previous Mahama's administration. She was a Minister of Education. She's also served as the first Vice Chancellor for one of the public universities in Ghana, University of Cape Coast. And so we know her to be in the education field and her contribution towards education. And so for us as Ghanaians to see that for the first time we are going to have gender balance at the top or the high level of leadership in government is quite refreshing. And we've seen what she did in the education ministry, and for us it's more important that diversity, balance and parity at the top is very important. And we thought that it's long overdue for us to have a female at the top, at the highest office of Ghana.
Ghana has a very vibrant opposition group. What are they asking President Mahama to do first to make Ghana a more cohesive country?
So it looks like this is Mahama is still enjoying his honeymoon, if we should put it. Not much has been heard from them. They've mentioned their willingness to work with the government. Of course, we saw Nana Addo, the former president. We have also former President Kufuor and the former vice president, who was also the candidate, all present at the inauguration. So it looked like there's a more willingness to work together, but of course it's too early to know what is going to happen. The opposition is also calling on the government to see what they are going to do to get resources, because the President Mahama campaigned and promised to cut a number of taxes and to ensure that we remove some taxes, he calls it unnecessary, and to enhance business. So they are looking at how President Mahama is going to be able to raise resources for his promises that he's mentioned.
On top of your head, what do Ghanaians really want to see the president fix first?
So, corruption. A lot of people, Ghanaians, believe that there was so much corruption in the previous government, and President Mahama's step of having a committee to look at operation. He has an initiative called Operation Recover All Loot. More people are looking up to how President is going to fight corruption.
Now, football promoter Frank Mutalaga has urged members of the Batwezimbe women's group to mentor Uganda's young women, teaching them how to become enterprising in order to build financially strong families. Mutalaga made this call while attending the group's 10th anniversary celebrations held in Dazzle and Shine Bar in Seguku along the Kampala-Entebbe Road, where he served as a chief guest.
Football promoter Frank Mutalaga has emphasized the importance of families having multiple wives, contributing to their financial well-being, which he believes will lead to greater stability.
Women's group, Batwezimbe women's group, abakyala mwenna abali mu abakulu. Nina benda kati muleesemu ne ku baana musobole okubalagako buvunaanyizibwa. Obwo kino kintu kikulu nnyo. Era njagala mutuyambire ddala mwongere n'okusika abaana abalala. Kubanga bano abaana ab'obuwala wadde beepanka wadde tulagawa balina kufuuka mmwe. Ate mmwe muyinza okuba mukikoze bulungi n'okusinga bwe banaakola ki. Naye banaatambula nammwe. Kubanga basomeka bafune masters kabafune buddawa bonna balina okubaako.
He also praised the Batwezimbe women's group for its growth, noting with pleasure that the members now save and exchange meaningful, qualitative gifts with one another, an improvement over the practices during the time his late mother was a member. The group's chairperson, Rehema Nachimera Mosisi, outlined the group's objectives, highlighting that it is a registered association with a formal constitution.
membership mutwalo ogutaddizibwa buli mwaka. Olina okuwa muno mukabya emitwalo 313 ezitaddizibwa buli mwaka. Olina okusevinga emitwalo 5 buli mwezi. Osobola n'okwongerako endala.
Businessman Molendu Abakari, who deals in fuel, urged the group to vote for him as a councillor representing Seguku Ward in the upcoming 2026 local government elections. The Batwezimbe Women's Group, which started in 2014 in Seguku, Naziba Ward, with just 15 members, now boasts 44 members.
UBC Lunchtime News takes a very short break, but return with more stories after these messages.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo. Dial *165 *80#. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You will now enter the draw to win school fees.
Uganda, Are you ready to kick things up to the next level? The Uganda National Lottery brings you Sports Take 10. Predict the results of 10 football games and win big. With tickets at only 500 shillings, join the fun and make your predictions count with Sports Take 10. Sports Take 10, your ticket to football glory.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Tuliko groundi, Blascon, paint and win. This year, Blascon paint and win. Tuliko groundi. Chicho, buy paint worth 100K. Get a scratch card. SMS the code 27197. Stand a chance to win instant airtime, 1 million shillings bully day there, or a share over 3 million shillings jackpot each week. What do you want the brand new podas, tuk-tuks, and so much more? Catch the paint and win action every Monday on Bukede One, NBS, and Sanyuka TV. Blascon, color your world.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby don't go.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Uganda will host the African Union Extraordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government from the 9th to the 11th January 2025 at the Munyonyo Commonwealth Resort and Convention Center. The summit will consider and adopt the new Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, CADIP framework, and sign the Kampala Declaration to run for the next 10 years. The CADIP Kampala 2025 summit will unite over 2,000 delegates, including government leaders, private sector and stakeholders, under the theme, Building Resilient Agri-Food Systems in Africa.
Welcome back from that break, and now into the international scene. Trudeau rejects Trump's proposal to merge Canada with the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's proposed using economic force to pressure Canada into becoming the 51st U.S. state. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau dismissed the idea, stating there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States. Now, in November 2024, Trump suggested that the merger, after Trudeau raised concerns about potential tariffs on Canadian goods. However, yesterday, Trump clarified at a press briefing that he was considering economic force, not military action, to pressure Canada, citing Canada's trade surplus with the U.S. Previously, Trump called the U.S.-Canada border an artificially drawn line and threatened a 25% tariff on Canadian exports. Now, President-elect Donald Trump did not rule out using military or economic coercion to gain control of the Panama Canal and Greenland during a wide-ranging news conference in Florida on Tuesday. The White House Chief Bureau, Patsy, reports his remarks came hours after his son made a surprise trip to Greenland.
Greenland, the ice-covered semi-autonomous Danish territory, and the canal belonging to Panama that connects the Caribbean Sea with the Pacific Ocean. The United States must control both, said President-elect Donald Trump. At a press conference in Mar-a-Lago on Tuesday, Trump was asked if he can assure he would not use economic and military coercion to do so.
No, I can't assure you on either of those two, but I can say this. We need them for economic security.
Last week, Panama celebrated the 25th anniversary of the transfer of the canal from the United States.
En nuestras manos se va a quedar para siempre. The canal is going to stay in our hands forever. Today we see the Panamanian flag flying freely, as if it had always been there.
And since 1941, the U.S. has maintained a military base in Greenland, which is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, but has wide-ranging autonomy.
People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen.
Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has repeatedly said Greenland is not for sale. She said it again Tuesday as the president-elect's son, Donald Trump Jr., arrived for a previously unannounced visit to the territory.
I will make it very clear that seen with the eyes of the Danish government, Greenland is for the Greenlandic people.
During Tuesday's press conference, Trump was also asked whether he would use military force to annex Canada, which he suggested should be part of the U.S.
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada.
Outgoing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said on social media, quote, "There isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States." It's unclear whether the president-elect is aiming to deliver on these threats or use them as a negotiation tactic under his America First foreign policy as he prepares to come into office on January 20th.
We live in a society where a lot of these decisions are not made on a unilateral basis, and even if the Trump administration wanted to be expansionist and invade other countries, how realistic can this be in terms of force and retaliation?
Trump reiterated his threat to impose a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican goods unless both countries increase security on their border with the U.S. He said he will rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News, Washington.
Now, observers say in Lesotho, a landlocked mountainous country surrounded by South Africa, delivering high-quality health care is a major challenge. Among other things, the high rates of HIV and tuberculosis, maternal and child health issues, and the shortage of healthcare professionals are key concerns. We have more details.
Partners in Health work in Lesotho is providing comprehensive primary health care services in rural, hard-to-reach areas of Lesotho. We started the program in 2006 on the invitation of the Minister of Health to provide HIV treatment and care for the hard-to-reach communities which had no access to HIV services. Later, we realized that we cannot really improve health outcomes if we focus only on HIV. So Partners in Health has expanded its services to other primary health care services, including maternal child health, tuberculosis, non-communicable diseases, mental health. And in 2007, PH realized that there was a need to support the government of Lesotho to develop or implement treatment and care for multi-drug resistant tuberculosis.
Mental health services are not readily available, especially when you go to remote areas, rural areas in some parts of Africa. Can you discuss any challenges faced in implementing these mental health programs and also early childhood interventions?
We started with integration of early childhood development interventions into primary health care because we know that when you have a good foundation, you have better outcome. And we know that when it comes to child care, the first 1,000 days are critically important to build the foundation of physical and mental health well-being of anybody. So we integrated early childhood intervention into postnatal care, where we were taking advantage of having mothers to when they come for postnatal care, and we train them on how to, to build the foundation using an intervention called Save and Return. and this has been also a good success for to show what is possible to improve the health outcomes of both mothers and babies. And one of the interventions that we had was to screen for postnatal care, depression. And we have realized that during the period of the intervention, 37% of mothers had mild or moderate or severe form of mental health. We then realized the need of expanding the integration of mental health into other programs like MDR-TB and overall primary health care. When we screen, we need also to provide care. Yeah. And we have diagnosed a lot of patients who needed care. And this has triggered us to invest more in a well-trained mental health workforce.
What are some ways that PIH has collaborated with local partners and governments in Lesotho to ensure that these health interventions are sustainable?
PIH way of working is through accompaniment. So we work hand in hand with local governments, and all these initiatives are discussed first with the government leadership, especially the Ministry of Health. And once we agree that this intervention is really a good intervention that can help to improve health outcomes of the community, we go ahead and we implement. And we use the impact that we see on the ground to influence other partners and to influence also scale up of these interventions. So what we have seen from our experience when we introduced these new technologies, we realized that the impact was clear, and we were invited by the ministry's leadership, the Ministry of Health leadership, to present the findings to all partners. And now we have Global Fund, World Bank supporting the government to scale up these interventions. And we feel like, we say we influence with evidence. This is what we have been doing, and this is what we are going to continue.
The Seychelles archipelago off the east coast of Africa is a cultural melting pot. Longtime residents there include people with Chinese ancestry. But Beijing's investments in the strategically located country have also attracted new arrivals from China looking to do business with the island nation.
Chinese flavors, sometimes with a touch of Creole.
Let's say chow mein. It's a Chinese dish. It's a chow mein. Mian is the noodle, but we say chow mein. So it is cooked in the Creole cuisine.
Chinese Seychellois culture is not only reflected in the food here, it's also a part of the background of people like Molly Rosalie and other residents in Seychelles who have Chinese ancestry. Rosalie speaks fluent Mandarin and introduces the local culture to the new wave of Chinese tourists and business people here. However, the new arrivals from China and the long-time residents here don't share too much in common, says Paul Chow, who is also of Chinese descent.
I speak only Creole, and they speak only Chinese, so there's no way I could mix with them.
In recent years, China has directed its attention to strategically place Seychelles, whose location gives it easy access to Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. This island was not the point of destination when Chow's father arrived.
My father came to Seychelles in 1943, I think. But he came to Seychelles by accident.
Originally from southern China, Chow's father was heading to Madagascar, a popular place at the time for Chinese people seeking work. Someone on the boat got sick, and the passengers were quarantined. Here, in Seychelles, Chow's father stayed, found work, and married a local woman.
Chinese moved anywhere they think there's an opportunity.
In its history, Seychelles has been a part of France, then Britain, before gaining independence in 1976. It is now home to a majority of people who are Creole, with French and African ancestry. Descendants of Chinese migrants make up some 500 to 1,000 of the population here. Most of their ancestors left China to escape poverty. Then, more than 10 years ago, Beijing started funding construction projects in Seychelles, bringing in a new wave of Chinese workers. China's ambassador to Seychelles describes them as symbols of bilateral friendship.
Certainly for the 4 years that I've been foreign minister, I've seen how that relationship has grown.
I don't think the Chinese would do anything with Seychelles except want to locate, have an interest here so that they can oversee what's happening in the Indian Ocean. China is so rich now, everybody welcomes the Chinese.
With tourism being one of the main industries here, guides such as Rosalie look forward to a newly launched direct charter flight from China, with the hope that it will bring new waves of business to Seychelles. Kate Bartlett, VOA News, Mahé, Seychelles.
Members of a family died early Sunday when their small plane slammed into a commercial district in the city of Gramado in southern Brazil, civil defense authorities have said. Now, officials had earlier put the death count to 9. We had for you this afternoon. Thank you so much for your company. I'm Lorene Masika Kazimoto. To enjoy much more of UBC Television's broadcasting, good afternoon.